Are you ready to hear something that's going to completely change the way you view language learning? Are you ready to hear why most people fail when trying to learn a new language and why you most likely will too? Well, get ready because I'm about to drop some knowledge on your ass. It's not just you guys that failed at learning a foreign language. It was me as well. It's hundreds of millions of people around the world. So you, my friend, are not alone, and you should certainly not feel bad about yourself. Do we all just inherently suck? Are we a bunch of dum-dums who just don't have the brains to learn a foreign language while a select few others can? Maybe they're just smarter than you. Maybe they're just better than you. Well, guess what? Take that kind of idea, extract it from your brain, toss it into the toilet, and give it a big flush. You couldn't be more wrong. The truth is, you are just as capable of learning a foreign language as anyone else. You're not too old, you're not too dumb, you just haven't learned the secret yet, but you're about to learn it now. You failed to learn a foreign language for the following reasons. Number one, you didn't stick with it. Number two, you were using the wrong study methods. And number three, I humbly say, you hadn't met me yet. Now, does that sound oversimplified to you? Yeah? Well, that's because it is. But don't worry, I'm going to elaborate. First of all, in order for you to have confidence in my words here, you need to know that I'm not just talking out of my ass and that I have actually learned a foreign language. And while I'm not a master at it, I can confidently say that I'm a relatively proficient speaker of Chinese, which is funny to think of because Chinese is one of the harder languages. And I say that with an asterisk because actually no language is hard, and I'm going to prove that to you before the end of the video. And I've always viewed myself as a guy who just isn't good at foreign languages. And then I go and learn the most complicated one. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you've also said similar things to yourself. You're just no good at languages. Well, trust me, that's just a bunch of bullshit. You're just as good as pretty much anybody else. I mean, you're human, aren't you? We're designed to be good at languages. I mean, look around you. The dumbest motherfuckers you can see around are pretty good at their own languages, right? Well, there's your proof that you don't have to be a genius to learn a language. And in fact, you can do it effectively even if you are a complete dumbass. Learning Chinese showed me the secret to learning foreign languages. The added unexpected benefit I got from learning Chinese was that I also learned that I can learn any language I want to. I've been through the process of learning a language and I now know what to expect. My Spanish classes back in the US never got me there, and in retrospect, they were doomed right from the start. Their entire method of foreign language learning is fucked up. My French classes in high school sure as hell didn't get me there either. I mean, with my French teacher being such an arrogant bitch, there was no chance in hell I was going to ever learn the language. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of why you have failed in the past at learning a foreign language and most likely given up permanently on ever trying again. First and foremost, you had no idea what to expect. You thought you could just buy some course from the bookstore, watch a few videos, buy some flashcards, and study for a few weeks, and you'd start to get the hang of it. Well, what happened? After a couple weeks had passed, you realized that you still sucked. You told yourself, wow, I am just not getting this. I must not be any good with languages. Screw this. And then you put your book back on the shelf where it is still collecting dust today. Newsflash, that ain't how this shit works. Listen to what I'm going to tell you now, and your chances of successfully becoming proficient in a foreign language goes up by about 75% right away. Stop viewing language learning as a weeks to months long endeavor and think of it in terms of years. When learning a foreign language, you are generally starting from zero. You have to build up from nothing. 1, 2, 3, her, you, me, eat, poop, pee. You literally know nothing and you have to learn the absolute basics. This takes time, and even if you learn quite a bit in a day or two, well, you'll forget it. Retention takes time. You need time and repetition. When I first came to China, I couldn't speak a lick of Chinese. I didn't intend on trying to learn the language either. I planned to just stay a year and then move on to a different country. I was a traveler and I wanted to see the world. Besides, I had already learned early on, in school, ironically enough, that I sucked at foreign languages and I need not try. After a year of life immersed in Chinese everything and a couple months of hardcore traveling around the country that forced me to try to learn some of the language, I realized that I was able to have very simple conversations and at least be able to say some things. Sure, my pronunciation wasn't any good and my vocabulary was limited, but I could use the Chinese language and talk to real Chinese folks. And that's called communication. That was a new experience for me. And once I reached that point, something in my mind changed. I can do this. I'm already doing it. Although not fluent, I can now say that I can speak a foreign language. Things had changed in my mind in terms of what was possible. Guys, real quick, living in China definitely helped me to learn Chinese, but I know that living in China isn't really feasible for a lot of you, and I wanted to introduce you all to Excel Mandarin. They have an amazing team of bilingual teachers who can help guide you on your path to fluency. It's the perfect place to practice Chinese with native speakers, and the best part is, they make the process fun. Also, besides actual class time, they have a huge resource library that you can access so you can keep studying even when class is over. Sign up today for a free, no risk trial lesson and just see how you like it. You literally have nothing to lose, but potentially a whole lot to gain. Just make sure to tell them that Mr. Chopsticks sent you. Okay, and all this leads me to reason number 2 why you failed at learning your new language. Your method was all fucked up. Here's something you guys need to know if you plan to learn a foreign language. Just to allow your brain to start to rewire itself to accept and be able to make sense of the new language requires hundreds of hours of active listening. A quick rundown for you guys. If you're learning Spanish or French, you'll need to listen to it for roughly 600 to 1100 hours to allow your brain to be able to accept it and understand most of it. And if you're learning any of the languages of the Far East, like Korean, Japanese, or Chinese, this necessary time frame lengthens to roughly 1600 to 2800 hours of exposure. If nothing else, this should tell you that there are no real shortcuts. You aren't going to learn it in a few weeks, regardless of what language it is. That's why I said view it in terms of years, in terms of time commitment, not weeks or months. Those figures are for being able to understand the majority of what you hear in a foreign language. So if you listen to appropriate Chinese materials and work your way up, it might take somewhere around 2,000 or more hours for you to be able to comprehend a good deal of it. So if you listen for an hour a day, that's about 5.5 years. But if you listen for roughly 2 hours a day, that drops down to under 3 years. And if you listen to around 3 hours a day, that drops down to under 2 years. That's right, if you take 3 hours a day and apply it to learning a new language rather than watching Netflix, X videos, or playing computer games, you could reach conversational levels in any language in the world in 1 to 2 years. Now, this exposure to the language should make sense. Start out with just listening to simple stuff, beginner's content, all in the target language. Videos that include the language with visuals, expressions, and body language are even much more effective yet. Don't just jump into advanced level podcasts and watching the news right from the get-go. If you do that, well, you're kind of wasting your time. Start with the easier stuff and slowly work your way up. Also, don't get too caught up in all the grammar rules. Just mostly listen and listen carefully. Let it sink in. Now, taking some notes along the way won't hurt, but don't overdo it. Make listening the main part. And lastly, you failed at learning a foreign language because you gave up way too soon. You probably studied everything ass backwards, dwelling on grammar, trying to memorize tons of vocab, and made active listening an afterthought, placing it very low on the priority list. Well, turn that around and listen more. During the first year or so, active listening should make up about 80 to 90% of your study time. So once you're studying in the right way and you stick with it, there's something that you need to know, and I want you to really listen close to this part. This is the secret and the visual that will push you to reach a conversational level in any language. See this image? What you see is that during the beginning period of learning a language, it's hard to remember new things. Progress is slow. You can't remember the words you learned. You can't quite make sense of what you're hearing. That slow rising stretch in the beginning can last for months to years, depending on how much you study. But if you just stick with it, at some point it will suddenly click and your level will shoot up quickly, making sudden improvements in a short period of time. For me, in Chinese, this took about 3 years. Of course, well before that 3-year mark, I was able to talk and communicate some, but the really noticeable change came at around that 3-year mark. That happened with me living in China. Had I not been in China, I would have never made it because I had already decided that language learning was not my strong point. But by living in China and not even necessarily actively studying, I was exposed to it daily and studied a little bit once in a while. I didn't go full immersion or anything. I didn't watch Chinese TV or listen to much Chinese music. Had I truly immersed myself in Chinese while living in China, I would have certainly improved much faster. Now, since I've become quite proficient in Chinese, I've also realized that I can learn any language that I want to, and I now understand the process. There's no giving up after a few weeks or months. Learning a language is not hard. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, every country has their fair share of complete doofuses, and they can speak their own language, right? Well, surely you're smarter than them, but the only thing that separates you from them in terms of learning said language is time and exposure. Actually, it's sort of contrary to common thought to say this, but language learning is quite easy and, to a degree, almost automatic. Think of a baby. They come into the world with a clean slate. They can't say a damn thing. But over time, they just learn their mother tongue. They hear it, their brain starts to make sense of it, their listening improves first, followed by their ability to start articulating themselves, and so the process goes. If you just expose yourself to the target language a lot and immerse yourself in it during your study sessions, you will naturally start to learn it. If you just keep doing this, you will start to learn the language, and within a year or two, you'll probably be at least somewhat conversational. So there you have it, guys. Now you know why 99% of people fail when attempting to learn a foreign language. They have unrealistic expectations, their study methods are flawed, and they give up way too soon after seeing such slow progress, and they never reach that period where it just starts to click. Well, right when it starts to click is right when you are almost conversational. If you just make it to that point, and you will if you just keep going, regardless of how slow progress feels today, then you have learned the language. Now, there are degrees to learning. You haven't mastered it, but you have learned it enough to easily get by to communicate with people that speak in that language. And for most people, that's already enough. Do you want to take it to mastery? Well, that's a bit more complicated. That's a long road. But if you reach this initial jump, you can pretty much say that you've made it. Native speakers in that language will compliment you, and your family and friends will be blown away by how easily you can communicate in a foreign language. That's the secret in a nutshell, guys. There's no magic pill, there's no magic program, just time, exposure, consistency, and effort. Have fun with it and don't be in a rush. You will get there. I want to give an extra special thanks to all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for their help in keeping this channel financially sustainable. A huge thank you to all supporters from the $1 tier on up through the higher tiers. I want to give an extra special acknowledgement to my PCO tier members. And lastly, a huge shout out to my top tier supporters. Lee, Martin S., David is Da Wei. Oh, and just so you know, you guys rock.
What do you look for beyond the sea, grasshopper?